Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Vegas Beat. I'm Tony George, that guy over there. Back in Chicago, Griffin Murphy. Little trip to Kansas City to hang out with me a little bit. Now back home. How's everything in Chi-Town, my man?
It's about the same thing, Tony. I just got back from a run. It's extremely humid. The weather, it's the same old, but couldn't be happier to be back, recollecting, getting everything rolling, getting ready to make a move. So I'm excited, man. Happy to be locked in. And we're back in the Vegas Beat, my favorite show, ready to rock, brother. How you doing over there? How's Kansas City today?
I'm doing good. Kansas City's hot and steamy. My neighbor was out mowing her yard in a bikini a minute ago. She shouldn't be wearing a bikini, but nonetheless, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Oh, goodness. Just something to break up the monotony here.
Where's Jackpot? Where's Jackpot?
Yeah. Last couple of weeks, we've been talking about prop bets. We're going to continue to talk about them a little bit. Now, I had a 7 uni last night in the WNBA that cashed with 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. I love those, Griff.
Oh, dude, no sweaters.
Yeah. Young for Las Vegas to make over 1.5 3-pointers minus 120. She made 2, and she ended up going 2 for 7 for the game, but she made both of them before even the second quarter had expired. As we're looking at that, I wanted to look at a live score since we're talking about WNBA. Don't give that prop market. Indiana getting smoked by Golden State right now, 78-55 in Caitlin Clark's return. Golden State continuing to get no love, +8. Dude, the Valkyries are a good team.
Tony, at first throughout this entire season, once Golden State kind of made that statement that they were the best covering team in WNBA, I kind of figured the market was going to start balancing these numbers out and these odds and starting to kind of stretch these lines a little bit to kind of mess with the public eye. And it's just not happening. This team's not only covering spreads, they're winning games outright, again, up 20. And the one time I took them 2 days ago, +8, they end up losing by 9. It's just one of those things, Tony. One of those things. But Golden State having a hell of a season.
And that total closed at 164.5. It closed at 7. 164.5. Right now they got 135 with 2 minutes left. I was going to look up something here while we're being all friendly. This is a live show, so it's 2 guys just shooting the shit about sports and sports betting.
I saw
Golden State has 11. Golden State has 11 unders and 7 overs. This is a team that plays unders. And Indiana just a total mess right now, Griff. With their losing Caitlin Clark. Now I didn't see what her minutes were today. I read an article said she was going to get hopefully near 20 minutes coming off that injury. I don't know what she ended up getting.
You got 24 minutes, 24 minutes, 10 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. She had a day. She played okay, but biggest thing is for me right now with Indiana is they have to come back into fruition with Caitlin Clark in that lineup. It's very different when your leading star player goes out for a while and then comes back into the mix. So I wouldn't take anything out of today. This would have been a bet off game for me rolling into this matchup with Caitlin Clark returning. I would give her a few more games with this Indiana Fever team to kind of settle back up before they're a bet on team for me right now, Tony.
Yeah, I agree. I thought I almost took that. I've got a free pick out tonight with the Chicago Sky. They're laying 1 in that game against Dallas. That was my free video play today. Angel Reese has just been on a roll, regardless of whether you like her politics, whether you like her on court or off court antics. That chick can ball.
Yeah.
She can board almost better than any. She's like Dennis Rodman. She just gets 15, 16 boards a game.
Yep.
You don't know what you're going to get from a point standpoint. She reminds me a lot of Rodman's game. Now, the other night, she had 15 boards and 6 assists and 22 points. I mean, that's a night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a night for a young gal like that at the pro level. The refereeing continues to be a problem in the WNBA, but getting back to the by the way, Chicago, Dallas missing 2 players tonight. That Paige Beckers or Buchers, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Becker, right?
Beckers.
Yeah.
From the rookie from UConn. She's going to have to carry the team tonight, and she's been up and down. I think the line's low because Chicago played last night, but I do like them in that game tonight. If it gets over 1 point, play the money line. Take the point because it's not going to get over 2. But if, play the money line there, take the points out of it. If it gets over 1, I'd lay the 1 in that game. I've got a 6-unit prop bet on that game. And like last night, we always talk, Griff, about the market being soft in the prop market yet.
Yeah.
The lines are soft. Odds makers have not perfected a way to make it almost impossible, to pick a side or a total like it is in pro sports.
Sure.
The WNBA, as we get to dig into, my WNBA guru, Tim Fines, who also, he's been sending me some of these. He's been exploring this market, and he cannot believe how cheap these lines are and how soft they are. So I said, let's switch gears a little bit and start throwing up some WNBA. Had a 7-unit last night. I'm going to pound another one. Now, this line was softer than the other one, but I'm playing with House's money, so I backed it down a unit.
Yeah.
Just in case there's a downside. We're still got House's money from last night. A lot of guys jumped on board. But the WNBA market, again, odds makers extremely slow to react to recent trends.
And that's one thing, Tony, that I actually just picked up on as of recent and entering this season was the WNBA prop market. So I've sent out 6 player props across the WNBA this season. I'm 5-1. So I started really doing my homework with these player props, and I actually have a player prop on the women's standpoint WNBA tonight. So that is another thing. We always talk about these evolving markets that haven't been touched up on too heavily. And I will say the WNBA, the WNBA alone is one of those markets that really hasn't reached that peak of them getting a full grasp around it. Now, on top of that, they have to find a whole nother sector around doing that, all of this player versus player analysis. So that's another way of finding profitability inside of these evolving markets. So I've just picked up on that myself, actually being in Kansas City with you and chopping it up a lot. I picked up a lot of things as well, and I'm doing my homework now on these player props. With that being said, I do want to say I screwed up today. Our release times on WNBA I had Connecticut today, Connecticut today, and that game was released. I thought the release time was an hour later. So if anybody has my season pass, they're on it. They caught that win today. Otherwise, I have to mark that as a scratch game. I wanted to throw that out there. Screwed up. I've seen this game landed 93-83. I was getting 17.5. So I ended up capitalizing. But go ahead, Tony. I'm going on another rampage. You know me, man.
By the way, to this day, Golden State is still the best cover team in the WNBA. Keep that in mind. This is an expansion team, their first year, and they are doing the impossible.
Yeah.
Right now, they have a better record than Indiana. And Indiana was everybody's cat's meow because of Caitlin Clark. They haven't been. One thing I noticed about the two, their coach can't get them all on the same page for whatever reason. Because you've got a good core group of players there. Girls that can score. The other really good-looking blonde that's doing all the TikToks all the time and the skimpy skirt. I don't know. That came to her rescue.
You're not talking about Paige. Are we talking about? No, we're not talking about. What? I'm thinking Becker. No.
I'm going to get her name. Just relax. Yeah. I'm going to get it. Hang on a second. Let me get Indiana. Here we go. Her name is Cunningham.
Oh, okay. Yep. I've actually had a prop on her. I had a prop on her a few games ago. Okay, I gotcha.
But they got Kelsey Mitchell. They've got what's the Boston, that gal's name? Aaliyah Boston. She's good too. I mean,
Yeah.
they got three really good players and two other decent players, and yet they just, for whatever reason, cannot get over the hump there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a concern. You don't want to just bet Indiana because Caitlin Clark's on the team. That's for sure.
And that pulled in a lot of public bettors throughout the
Sure did.
season and last season. Oh yeah, and that's the public trap. When there's a lot of noise about one player, one team, one speculation, usually the typical standpoint is to go the other way on it. Obviously, you got to have your strategies, you got to have your analysis, you got to know where you're going with it. But that typically comes to fruition, and that's what's happening right now this season.
Yeah, they got pounded on the season win totals. Now, we took Atlanta. We're going to win that easy. You know, they're playing really good ball. Minnesota is off. Well, they got three losses all year.
They lost
Indiana.
They almost lost the Sky.
Indiana going in there and pounding them in the Commissioner's Cup
7
out
units.
of nowhere without Caitlin Clark. Then they come out and lay two dog turds in a cantaloupe patch after that game, and now they got Clark back and they can't. And that's a huge distraction. And whatever chemistry they had going, they have to redo the chemistry now.
Yep.
Because now the star's back. You know, we want her at the ball in her hands. She has a lot of assists. You'd think she'd be a selfish ball player. She's not a selfish ball player. She only takes open looks. She'll force a few when she has to, but for the most part, she dishes it out well. She does a lot of things very well, but when you switch up your whole makeup of your team because she's out, and then you realign that makeup when she comes back in, like you said, you got to wait a couple of games for that to kind of level out.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, and that coach is just terrible. Now, prop market, Griffin and I did a special the last 2 weeks for you, where you could buy 365 days of props for $650. You got to call the office to do that. And that's all props, all sports for 365 days. That's 93% off if you were to pay $25 a day. And a guy jumped on Twitter and he goes, I didn't pay for one pick a day. Come on. Okay. Now, what we tell you? How I do it. Griff does it different, but how I do it is I look at the big picture. The big picture is to find one bet a day that's the best bet on the board and bet it. 3 or 4 units. That's the best bet on the board, which means that a 3 or 4 unit pick has a shitload of value.
Yeah.
You're missing the point. You're also exercising discipline with your bankroll. I know you're an action junkie. Go bet a bunch of parlays if you want. But when you get my stuff, you're going to get low volume, high return. That's the plan. We don't win everything. And I kind of got back on Twitter and responded to him as such. And then 3 days later, after a week, he says, yeah, well, after a week, I'm up 18 units. Yeah, dude, that's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have 5 or 6 prop plays out there, baseball, WNBA combined, whatever, and you have scores come in like you had last night, Major League Baseball, which we're going to touch on in just a minute, where things didn't go as planned, pitchers get pulled, can't get his strikeout, a prop, you know, if you're playing the over, you know, the Angels can't hit, so you're on a over 1.5 bases with Joe Blow. They're getting blown out 12-1. No one's getting a hit, you know, this, that, and the other, and you're sweating out these 5 or 6 variables with 12 to 15 units out there minimum. Why not have one 4-unit best bet, that I'm really dialed in on and let that go to work for you. Let that dog eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the week, you add up the units, the less stress on the heart, you take more gambling out of it. You're gambling, but you take more gambling out of it. Less is more.
Yes.
So just don't bitch about one pick a day. If I have 2 picks on a day, it's a 3 and a 2. Again, I like them both. I can't single one out. So I'm going to throw the dog with the least amount of fleas as a 2-unit pick and the one I love as a 3-unit pick. And, let's sweep the damn board. Let's win 5 units.
Mm-hmm.
Or we drop the 2, we win the 3, we still win a little over, half a unit, depending on the juice. We still win a little bit of money, and we're living to fight the next day. That's my philosophy with these, Griff.
Well, Tony, that kind of brings me back to right when I got on Docs, because your biggest lesson that you taught me right when I got on, you said, because you know me, I bet a lot. When I bet big, very, very, like when I have a game I love, I'll torch that bastard. And you, exactly how you just explained this to me, you said, Griff, would you rather have 10 dimes on one game, or would you rather spread out a dime very small every single day, play your 4-unit play individually, and then come towards the end of the week, instead of one game and shooting your entire load at one game and it goes down and now you're down 10 racks to start the entire week? Or would you rather play $1,000 on your 4-unit plays very, very small and chip the entire week through, and then all of a sudden, look, you're up $7,000 on the week opposed to being down 10 grand to start your week? So that's the exact thing you taught me right when I got onto Docs. And now that I've been doing this with Docs for about 2.5 years, that has come to fruition. That is exactly how I handicap my games. That is exactly how I bet my games. I am never going to start my week off unless I absolutely love the game down $10,000 to start. It is always cherry picking my favorite game of the day. That is the game I am going to wager. And based on the units amount, that is how big I'm going to play it. And the value within that, my 4-unit play is just as valuable, just a little bit ahead as my 5-unit selection. Obviously, there's a huge jump when it comes to 7-unit selections opposed to 4-unit selections. But at the same time, the gravy is still there. It's all still there to eat. And I always go back to this. And I don't want to sound like a salesman. That's the last damn thing I want to do on this. But if you were to go through my statistics across 4-unit plays, 3-unit plays, hitting nearly 60% in almost every single one of them. So that's the biggest thing. I hate getting on here and talking about it, but this has to be talked about. It has to be rehearsed, and everybody needs to know. These huge 7-unit plays that everybody gets high honcho on, you need to calm down, because guess what? There's 7-unit plays all the time. Get that straight. But would you rather chip your way in making that 10 grand, or would you rather be down 10 grand to start the damn week and have to fight your way all the way back? That's not the way to do it. Tony is the master of all of that. Tony, he really is. You've taught me all of that. And now I run that my own way, money management, and it is only my bankroll has only skyrocketed tenfold from that. I hate talking about it. I sound like a salesman, but it's just pure honesty. It's pure honesty. And I hate that, because we get all these M&F tweets at us, my Instagram DMs blow up, all of this stuff. But if you go look at my 4 units on the week, 3-unit plays on the week, we're hitting nearly 65% and nobody's bitching. So that's kind of how this is right now. And I wanted to touch up on that, Tony.
Well, nobody's bitching, and a lot of people aren't investing because it doesn't say 6, 7, 8 unit.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, especially you younger guys out there watching this, you've been watching too much Vegas Dave. Telling you that you can just get rich overnight in this, doing this. Interesting story. Last year during Super Contest Weekend, which is the last weekend of August, out at Circa, where they're making their big push to sign up Circa Survivor and Circa Millions contest. Westgate's got a contest just like it. Matter of fact, the Westgate's got a college football contest this year where you put in 7 picks a week. But for the first time, a standalone college football contest. Now, I know the Golden Nugget, they do a combination college and pro contest every year. Costs like $500 to get in, I think. My buddy Mark, who you know, out in Vegas, we kind of run bets together, this, that, and the other. Anyway, in case the Department of Justice is watching, I really don't know him that well. But him and his partner have placed in the top 10 in that like 4 years in a row. You know, and it's not a huge payout like Circa Millions, but, you know, they're winning some money, you know, and they're having fun. You know, what we're doing here is for fun. Now, the 3 and the 4 unit picks, check out the Sports Betting 101 section of Doc's YouTube channel, our page there. There's a thing on there about betting 3 and 4 unit plays and why they hold value. But last year during Super Contest weekend, I was out there. So I get down there on Thursday and I'm meeting our mutual friend Kiev from the Odds Breakers.
Yeah.
You know, who's a friend of DocSports, a friend of both of ours. And we're having a few cocktails at the Mega Bar. And they're at Circa. And, of course, some cat rolls up on me, some young cat, mid-20s, all fired up. Tony George, oh, my God. You know, so he started showing me these tickets. Said he would bet like $300-400 a game. He had like 3 or 4 of them. So I hit him. He went like 3-1. And then the next day, I'm down there again. I was there 4 days in a row. I'm down there again. I'm doing a spot with Matt Humans at Vison that night. So I go down there a little early. I believe you came down and said hello.
Yep.
This cat rolled up in the bar and goes, man, yesterday I won $1,200. Today, look at these tickets. He goes, I bought your package today. I go, okay. And I had like a 4 unit and a 2 unit Major League Baseball play. This is late August. And I hit them both. And then he had one, he liked like the Brewers or something, and they were getting like a plus 220. And he put like 300 on it and they hit. I forgot who they were playing, but he won like, 600 some 660. Sure. He's all fired up. So I run into him on Saturday. He's all in.
Oh, God.
I can't be beat. I'm on a roll. I'm going, not only did I win $3,300, I went all in 5 dimes. It was the Marlins against somebody. I can't remember who they were playing. The Marlins were like minus 115. They got beat 10-1.
Oh, God.
He lost it all. Not practicing. I go, what makes you like them more than you did this game on Thursday? What makes them a 5-dime bet versus a $400 bet? He goes, nothing. I'm just on a roll. You can't do that crap. You got to stay disciplined big time. I'll tell you that right now, folks. Speaking of the Vegas beat, Griffin and I are going to mix it up this fall. We are going to switch from Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, and we're going to go Mondays at 1 o'clock during football season so we can recap. And I'm thinking we might even make it live like we do Doc's Daily, where you could all come in and bitch and moan or celebrate about the lucky wins you got or the bad beats you got or the great calls you got. And we will discuss our packages and how we did over the weekend, and probably give you a glimpse into a couple early lines. But we thought it'd be a great spot for you to be sure and subscribe and like the channel so you get notified when this starts popping up. But I thought it'd be a great angle for the Vegas beat, Griff, to talk about, what happened over the weekend, what surprised us, what didn't surprise us. You always have those should have known,
weekend.
Should have known. Happens every time. I didn't fade Mac Brown in a big game. Well, Mac's gone now. But should have known not to bet Belichick in North Carolina just because Belichick was coaching. They just got blowed out by 40 against Tallahassee JUCO. They got nothing. He's worried about his girlfriend. Should have known.
That honestly, though, it will be so it'll be such a great learning experience too, the show that goes in, because there are so many different ways that our brains will be picked. You know, I'll always be picking Tony's brain as well while we do these type of things. But you'll hear things like Tony absolutely ripped me apart last year because I hate talking about this one, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. I had an 8 unit on Mac Brown on that damn North Carolina going to Boston College laying points. And he goes, dude, you're taking him on the road and you're laying points against the rival. What the hell are you doing? I said, watch, they're going to blow him out. They got blown out by 20 on my 8 unit game of the year. If I could read out loud the amount of comments and just absolute ripped apart shit that I read from that selection, I would do it right now, but I'm not going to do it. Point being, there are so many little things that you can just cherry pick that we will be able to give out on the show throughout the entire weekend, recapping all of the ifs, don'ts, do's, don'ts, whatever the case may be. So I'm very excited for that. Me and Tony had talked about that. He brought that idea up to me. Absolutely loved it. So couldn't be more excited. And even better note, Tony, we got Gridiron 6-pack rolling in.
Gridiron 6-pack will be up every Wednesday. 2 years ago, 68% over 113 game sample size. Last year, just under 60% with about the same game sample size. We kind of came back down to earth, but still, combination 2 years, you got 63% free winners over 200 games.
Yeah.
For free. My service didn't do 63%. Of course, it's a bigger sample size, but
yeah,
you know, but at the end of the day, that'll be up every Wednesday about 3 Central, 3 college, 3 pro games. We're going to have the Vegas beat for you. I'm doing my NFL opening line report. Thanks for the cult following on that. I do that every Tuesday morning where I just raw and candid give you initial reactions. They're not handicap picks, but we have a discussion about every single NFL game, at least what I see on the surface. So that's all going on. Now, to close out the show today, we'll bring Lenny on, our boy out in Vegas, who's our behind-the-scenes producer.
Yeah, there he goes. There he is.
The Detroit Tiger himself. Well, first of all, before I get to this little fun thing we're going to do about downtown Vegas, I did want to, since Lenny's on here, we will go ahead and do it. I'm just going to run some scores by you guys. And first I'll go with Lenny. What of these games, what shocked you more? Let me get through them first. Miami 12, Cincinnati 2. Wow. Okay, I'm not done. Texas 13-1 over LA. Or Oakland/Sacramento/Vegas/nobody wants them A's 10-1 over Atlanta. What was all that about?
The one that surprised me personally was more the Oakland A's, Vegas A's over the Braves. I didn't see that coming. I was on Texas, so I was on them first 5, but I was on Texas. Also your Royals yesterday, first 5, but whatever. But we pushed on that one. Give it out on the Docs Daily. They gave it out. We talked about that. So, and then the third one, I think you said the Marlins. The Marlins are hot. The Marlins are red hot right now.
They weren't hot on Sunday.
Well,
Griffin and I were together. I had a 6 uni on them. They had a stud pitching for him too. And it was Woodruff's first game back.
Yeah.
Dude.
Got a no-hitter for 3. He looked like Nolan Ryan out there.
Dude. And how about the Reds yesterday?
Well, that's that. If you ask me that question, that was my biggest surprise. I was on that. Martinez at home, his last outing at home, he went 8 innings of work. He allowed 1 hit and 1 run with 6 strikeouts. He's got a lifetime ERA or a season ERA at home this year, dialed in at a 3.4. He comes in yesterday, gets absolutely lit up. And the Marlins start Yerdy Perez. He's just a young kid. And you know what? I expected him to get banged up. It was time for the Reds, I thought. They were on that, I want to say, 3-game losing streak. You know, it was a good spot for them. Marlins just finished their series against the Brewers, had to get on the road to travel. They head into Cincinnati. perfect spot play for the Reds. This bastard got absolutely lit up. He went 5 innings, allowing 7 hits and 10 runs. That is absolutely atrocious. Perez 2 hit them. He gave up 1 run and 8 strikeouts with 0 walks. Absolutely sensational outing out of the Marlins, out of Perez. That was my biggest shocker. I looked at that score and said, what the? I checked it. I had to double check it.
Yeah.
That, and,
refresh.
and again, I mean, that Braves one, same thing. Not as big of a surprise considering it was baited. Considering Oakland was plus value at home, plus 105. Braves minus 125. They had Fuentes on the bump. Fuentes is a huge liability with a high ERA. I thought he was going to have a good outing in that matchup. Went completely lopsided the other way. So that one wasn't as big of a surprise because it was kind of like, well, you're giving the Braves only minus 125 against the Athletics. I mean, that's tasty enough for me to jump on. That's a public, nice little bet there. And it did go the other way, which was surprise. Angels game, Angels are hit or miss all season long. They either come out shoving or they get their asses kicked, which that was the case yesterday. So the biggest surprise for me was definitely the Reds.
That's fair.
You guys think this recent run from Miami holds any validity as the season goes along, or is this just going to be kind of a one-hit wonder? They're 42-48 right now. We're headed into the All-Star break. Do you think you can keep this momentum and they can be a wild card contender, or is this just something that it's like almost like an abomination? And it's not like Kansas City City's abomination. That's not going to change. But the Marlins, do you think they carry any of this momentum and kind of be at least in the conversation for a wild card down the stretch here? Or do they have, in your opinion, do you have that type of team?
So no, I don't think that this causes any opinionations for this season. But the biggest thing that what they're starting to do now is prove to the public they have a pitching rotation and they have a lot of candidates. They've got Yurdy Perez, they've got Edward Cabrera, and they got Sandy Alcantara, which all 3 guys are all massive trading bait prospects. So when I look at this team right now they're starting to make noise and people are starting to say, hey, you know what? This offense is starting to come alive. They have a very good rotation right now. There's a lot of bait there. They need to be sellers. They need to be sellers this season to set up for next year. Their lineup is dialed in. It's still very young along with that rotation. Cabrera's, he's in the midst. He's starting to get a little bit more into that veteran shape. But Yurdy Perez, brand new, fresh prospect pitcher. Sandy Alcantara is already a huge name. That's the guy you want to dump off. You want to dump off Alcantara. You want to get yourself some bats in that lineup and set up for next year because your head ace could be Edward Cabrera rolling into next season. But the Marlins right now, no, they need to be sellers. They need to get rid of a couple arms and really start bringing in some prospects and set that farm system up for next season, because I believe now this team is starting to get ready to become a contender heading into next year. But no, still too early. They're still too far behind. I just don't like it. And besides that, they're in a tougher division. So I wouldn't say right now the Miami Marlins, they're on a hot stroke right now. That's it. Just call it what it is. Everybody finds them. Even the White Sox have them from time to time. So let's not jump the gun yet on these Marlins. They're playing good ball. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Just to add, I mean, everything he said is exactly right. I think we'll find out who the Marlins think they are real quick by who they deal. If they deal Alcantara, Alakazam, I can't say that guy's name, but if they deal him, they're planning for the future. If they get rid of Perez, who's a young, strong arm, I think they're just trying to build that farm. I don't think I don't know if they believe where their farm system is at. So if they sell the younger pitcher and maybe 2 pitchers, maybe 2, and just build that young farm system, they know they're a couple years out. That would probably I'm hoping that's what they do, because I think the Tigers can grab one of those arms for sure. I'm just saying, there's always a back door to it. There's always a way. I'm just saying.
Oh, good Lord. We couldn't do the show without getting the Tigers mention. All right. We're having fun beating up on Pittsburgh. We just couldn't get the run line cover last night. I bit on that a little bit. Last week, we all know the crack man out in Las Vegas, Bill Krackomberger. We all know crack man. Now, he's didn't used to like pick sellers, but now he's one of them at a competing website. but he's a Las Vegas legend. He's a professional bettor, and anything he says has respect. Well, last week he was talking about his top 5 hotels in Las Vegas. And I'd made a comment on his list. I agreed, most of them, this, that, and the other. All the high-end places, the Cosmo, the Aria. He loves the Wynn, Venetian. He likes the, and when you're a VIP player like that, you get a lot of VIP stuff where the average schmoes, we got to go in and pay for a lot of shit, so can't really get the comps. But that being said, when I made that comment, a customer and a follower on Twitter messaged me. He said, "You're always talking about Fremont Street, so what's your top 5 hotels down at Fremont Street? And to double down, what's your top 5 bars?" Now, Fremont Street to be extended, past the tourists, when you get to East Fremont, where the locals go, where there's some really cool spots. But my top 5 hotels were obviously going to be Circa, because it's the newest, it's the nicest. They have the stadium swim. They have good places to eat. They got the best sports book in the world. So I like it, but Golden Nugget number 2 for me. You got to stay at the Rush Tower. It's the newer tower. They got a great pool. They got great food joints in there. Good bars. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Good pool. They got a good pool.
The pool's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, they used to have a restaurant in there called the Grotto, and it was right next to the pool.
Yeah.
Now it's Saltgrass Steakhouse, which they have Vic and Anthony's there. I don't know what they put another steakhouse in there for. It's a chain, like a Longhorn or Texas Roadhouse type thing. Yeah. But you could go there for lunch, and they have the best brick oven pizza on wood-fired brick oven pizza on the planet. It's freaking awesome. They had a great chicken Caesar salad, and you could go down there for lunch meetings, sit by the pool indoors, and check out all the eye candy while you're having lunch, which turned into a couple of after-lunch aperitifs, which
lunch meeting turned into half a day of work.
That's right. That's right. Telling somebody, no, I'm not married, but my wife is, type thing. But nonetheless, great place. Number 3, the D. Number 4, I'm going to say it because they redid it inside. The old El Cortez.
I knew it was going to make your list.
Dude, that's my hiding spot down there.
That's undercover right there. That's
and they redid all their rooms.
Right.
And then
not a bad table in the joint.
No. And then a tie between the Grand and the Plaza. I like the Plaza because the old school deal, and the Plaza for the deals they run down there all the time.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of great stuff there. Anything I missed there, Lenny?
I'd probably listen, the El Cortez is a different kind of list. I probably take that off. I like the Grand. I really like when me and my wife do a staycation, if you will, we'll stay at the Grand and just hang out down there.
Rooftop pool.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's underrated. Not a lot of people know about it. For me, it's number 2 behind Circa's number 1 by far. I love the Grand. I love the Grand. Small gaming area. So I like that. They have a nice little diner kind of place in there, kind of whatever. But I like the rooms there. I like the Grand. The Circa's number 1 by far. And then the D is number 3. But that's because you can get a Coney from the D, and I'm a Detroit guy. The Plaza's number 4 because if you want to play a good poker tournament for maybe a $50 buy-in just for shits and giggles, the Plaza, old school. You can't great steak eat at Oscars. I'm telling you, it's just you'll make you feel like you're in the casino movie with all those guys. And the Nuggets, the Nugget, man. Like when I can't afford to go to Circle like Craig all the time. So I go to the Nugget and get a cabana. And
Yep.
and I'll be honest with you, kind of kid friendly too. There's definitely eye candy.
Well,
They
the
got a
upstairs,
slide.
the H2O pool on the second level is adults only.
Exactly. So you can get the
away from
cabana
the
and stay
kids.
upstairs, and the kids run the slide down through the shark reef thing. They play downstairs. Everybody's great. If I want to go over, I got my own blackjack table upstairs. I got a craps table. I got a kiosk. I could sit in an adult pool and eye candy. And my wife is married. You know, like Tony said, our wives are married. That's, you know, I say I'm Tony. He says he's Lenny. That's how we go. I'm just saying, you know. It's how Vegas works. That's my top 5. Honestly, I love the Grand. That would be the one I would move up that list. Other than
every time Griffin came out there before he moved out there, he was staying at the Wynn, Venetian. He's staying at all these the Cosmo Aria guy. I'm not paying that for a room. And I'll tell you something, the Nugget, probably overall hotel down there, I hate to say this, is probably my favorite. Just for the amenities. The Chart House
was across the street from the Glitter Gulch. That's what it was.
Well, don't be making any wild accusations. But they have the Chart House Seafood Restaurant, the Chart House Bar with about 6,000 gallon aquarium there, fish swimming around while you're sitting there having a drink. Vic and Anthony's. They still got the Grotto. They got a Chick-fil-A in there if you like that. Claim Jumper is the best place to eat breakfast downtown in the morning. And you can get a killer breakfast for like $14. Yeah. You know, I'm talking eggs, 3 scrambled eggs. Bacon, eggs, hash browns, the coffee's unlimited. It's just a great spot. Tony runs a good book down there. They got a small little book. Now we'll switch gears here to where Griffin can actually contribute. Now we're talking downtown bars. Now Griffin can bring some expertise into this, but he can't bring expertise in to staying in cheap rooms downtown because he rolls like a high roller. Then
high society.
I would have him come downtown to meet me. You're going to come down here with the better class of loser.
Yeah, okay? I'm even lower than that. I'm like, I'll meet you downtown, mid-class. I got to go up. That's 10 minutes away from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we all love the Mega Bar because there's just nothing because we're sports betting nuts. The best sports book in the world's there. VSiN's there. It's the longest bar in Las Vegas in terms of feet length when you come into Circa. And you just see the who's who. I've seen more celebrities there than I have at Caesar's Palace. And I've been going to Vegas for 30 years. They hang there all the time. You'll see them all the time. I love the Mega Bar. Now, this is going to be weird, but I like the whiskey liquor bar at the Shoe because it's right next to a stage. Yep. They charge you $18 for a drink that's this tall, okay? Yeah. And this much of it is alcohol.
100%.
You can get drunk off your ass for $36 because after 2 of them, you're done for the night. Absolutely. And you have the live music stage right there.
It's the best people watching spot on Fremont. You could just post up right there. And life happens like the whole atmosphere, every spectrum of the life flashes right before your eyes on Fremont Street. Wow. How man was created, how he went down, everything walks down Fremont Street, folks. That's a people watching spot.
I wish I could chime in on the conversation, gentlemen. I just can't remember a whole lot of Fremont.
That's a problem. How about the Griffin?
The Griffin, you can't go wrong there. Can't go wrong. Hey, go take me to the Bellagio. Go get Lagos, get a nice dinner. Come on.
See, he wants to be wine.
Have ball games up.
The problem is I bounce around when I get downtown. Griffin meets me at the Mega Bar, and Mr. Wimp over there, easy to get drunk. He's done when he's at the Mega Bar. I'm just getting warmed up.
Oh, come on. Oh,
come on.
Listen, are you kidding me? Toe to toe, baby.
He
I'll
wants
drink all
the
damn
high
night.
society downtown, but then at the end of the night, everybody ends up on Fremont. I don't
Yeah.
know why you even start somewhere else.
And
Mhm.
then
We all end up down there.
so the whiskey liquor, you could sit right on Fremont Street in like a horseshoe type bar, or if you go upstairs, they have a bar that rotates on a motor. It spins and it's got a 360-degree. You can see inside, you can see outside. It's kind of cool. I like being where the action's at. They got plenty of fans down there, and you got a stage. My favorite band, Alter Ego, will play out there about 3 times a week on that stage. I'm an old classic rock and roll guy. Number 3, when you get done at the Whiskey Liquor on a Friday night, it's about 8:30. You want to sneak in to the Golden Nugget and go to the Rush Lounge. They always have a live band in there. It's a cool bar, and they have women scantily clad with blackjack tables. You can play blackjack in there too,
Is
as
that where
well.
you have to go upstairs? Do you have to go
No.
upstairs?
No, that's that Neon Lounge.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
the Rush Lounge
that's
is hidden kind of back behind the sports book.
Okay.
It's a cool.
Kind of dark in there.
Griff, you went in there with me. We had a
Yeah,
live
I was gonna say, okay, I know.
Griffin don't know where he's at. He just knows he likes
Dude,
that place.
as long as I got a drink, it's where we at next, boys. That's it.
Where are we going?
That's it.
What are we doing?
I'm in.
Now,
Exactly.
we cannot mention, because we have a guy that works for us named Guy, we cannot mention
I know. I was
Fremont
gonna say
Street, East Fremont Atomic Liquor. Classic Vegas, old school. Locals, visitors come in there, the smart visitors who know the place. Great joint, and they got a really cool little restaurant out back that you can eat, that you can't even see from the street. Great place down there at Atomic. You see all kinds of very eccentric locals that go there, regulars. Just a great spot to just get your drink on. You know,
it's a good starting spot for sure. Guys got the route.
It's
Guys
usually
got the
where
route.
you
minute
start
walk.
and somehow full circle and back up.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like a 7-8 minute walk from under the cover of Fremont.
Right.
And also down there, my favorite little haunt, I like to go hide in, place called the Griffin. I love the Griffin down there.
Yep.
Good vibe.
There last time I was in
Good
Vegas.
vibe.
Lenny, we were there. We
Yeah,
were
there. Yes, we were there.
we were just there. Yeah.
Very medieval, kind of rocky.
Yeah, that was the last time I was there.
Yeah. So those are my spots for the guy wanting to know. Confirmed by Lenny and Griff. This is the Vegas Beat. Join Lenny every day and Griff most days on Doc's Daily. Join Griff and I on the website with a free $60. If you go to there, Lenny will put the link there. Right there it is. .com. There's a tab on the website. We'll park $60 a new account. Comes with a profit guarantee and no hassles. And we're looking forward. And on the recap show on the Vegas Beat on Mondays, we'll have Lenny come in because Lenny likes to. Well, every week we'll bring Lenny on for the Who Beat the Shit Out of the Lions segment.
Here we go. Here we go, folks.
Yep.
And away we go.
Get out of you this year,
That's
Lenny.
right.
God, I'll have fun, man. Oh,
That's going to be a fun show. There's usually either I don't get too high or too low, but if I had a bad weekend, you're going to know about it because there's going to be some bitching. There's going to be, it'd be like sitting at the bar. It'd be like sitting at the Griffin or the Atomic Liquor with the three of us the morning after we sat and watched and bet games all day. It went good or bad, and we're going to tell you how we feel. So it's like pulling up a bar stool next to us.
Underrated bar. I don't know if we mentioned this. The above bar at the D. There's an escalator only goes one way.
Bar Canada.
Bar Canada. Yes.
Bar Canada is in my top 10.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's a bubble 5. I underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated. Good little spot.
Yeah. It is. It is a.
We were there too, Griffin.
If you're going up there, if you're going up there to people watch in terms of being a guy and looking for opposite sex, eyeball watching, You're not going to find it there. It's a dude's bar. It's up by the
Yeah.
sports book, but it's a cool bar.
Yep.
You
Wait
know.
a sec, real quick, Lenny. Was that my last place I was
That
at?
was the last
before night?
place. That was
Okay,
it. From there, we
I left
dispersed.
over the where you can't get out of. Okay, I
Yeah, he
remember.
went down the escalator that went up or something. I don't know.
I climbed down some
He
type
timed-
of
he
staircase.
timed
I don't know
out.
what it was. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday, folks.